Real quick, guys, before we continue with this video, I just want to mention quickly that I do offer coaching, and this is my website here where you can get all the information you need regarding what sessions look like, how to book, testimonials, and frequently asked questions. All you got to do is click here button, where it will take you directly to the website that I use to book sessions. As soon as you book, it'll give you all the information to get into contact with me to schedule. Let's get back to the video. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today, here, I bring you guys I guess, diamond below or below diamond guide on a aggressive but still safe and still macro based opener. This opener can be used in either TVP or TVZ. You could also use it in TVT, but I do have something else that I'm going to show you guys later on in a different video, specifically for TVT. Mostly because with TVT, you do have to deal sometimes with cloak banshees and battle cruisers and stuff like that, and it's a little bit more specific there. But like I mentioned, for this build that I'm going to be showcasing here, it's honestly, if you're really meant for people who are below diamond, I think that once you're in diamond, you can start doing some more complex things. But if you're playing ladder and you're a beginning new player, this build will help you practice and exercise the fundamentals, which are going to be macro, building supply blocks, and then trying to hit a sort of timing push. Just to begin, or just to basically discuss my personal philosophy on this, I think a lot of new players need to practice obviously their fundamentals, and I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that. But something that these aggressive, two base openers do, and cheeses as well can do this, is they really emphasize macro and timings, right? So if you're doing a two base push, you're trying to hit a certain timing, and by trying to hit that certain timing, you are going to, try to build depots as consistently as possible. You're going to try to build units as consistently as possible because that's kind of the point of doing a two base push. So I feel like this emphasizes two of the most important things you want to try to learn as a new player. So without further ado, let's get started. I will discuss some timings. Obviously, there is a lot of flexibility with these timings, guys. So I will kind of build things as I have the money, but I will give you some benchmarks throughout the video to kind of more or less give you an idea about what you want to do. The first thing you're gonna do is that you're gonna build a depot here at 17 in game time. So at around 16 seconds, 15 seconds, you're gonna grab a worker. You're gonna send it to the ramp. And at 17 seconds, about 20 seconds, you're going to start that supply depot there. As soon as the supply depot finishes, you're going to go ahead and drop barracks. Barracks going to go down like that. And then we're not going to take any gases. So this is kind of an old school thing. It kind of Wings of Liberty. In Wings of Liberty, we had kind of a Marine fast expand kind of thing. And so that's what we're going to do. The reason I'm doing this, again, is to not overcomplicate things early on, make things very simple. I do think if there is too much stuff to do early on, it can really mess you up. So we're going to avoid, taking that one gas that maybe some people are familiar with to build a Reaper. And we're going to focus primarily right now on the mineral income. At around 115, you can send a worker down to the natural. Like I said, I sent mine a little bit earlier, but around 115 or earlier, you want to send that worker down the natural, and you're going to build a command center at the 19th supply here. So you have 19 SUVs. As soon as this barracks finishes at 130, you're going to go ahead and pop a Marine, followed by a second supply depot. So just to answer a question here, because I'm sure somebody will ask, how do I scout with this if I'm going Marine first? As I'm sure many of you are familiar, a lot of Starcraft openers involve Reaper, and the Reaper becomes kind of essential for scouting. For the purpose of this video, and just honestly in general, something that people I think at this level should try to focus on more is actually their basics, their fundamentals. Don't worry too much about the scouting. The nice thing about this build is that it's pretty safe, like I mentioned earlier. So even if you were to be caught off guard by certain things, you should have just more stuff, and that should just be enough to win. I'll mention, if you want to scan, if you want to send a unit across the map to look at things, feel free to do that. Scanning is probably going to be your best bet And like I said, a lot of people aren't going to know what they're looking at, and there's no reason to stress about that because it's really hard to make sense of something that your opponent doesn't really know what they're doing. Does that make sense? I feel like I worded that really bad. So basically, if I scan across the map and my opponent's also new at the game, they're probably doing things that don't make sense. So if you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense, it's just going to throw you off more. So if you guys have watched any other video beginner guides, you've probably heard that. It's just you're gonna scout and you're gonna be like, okay, I see this, this, this. Really, the most important thing is just seeing what kind of army they're building, maybe. But even then, you really just want to focus and emphasize your macro. So just gonna quick little sidebar on that. At 145, you can go ahead and start this bunker. So you can send a worker down at 145, and then as soon as that worker gets there, feel free to start it up. In this case, mine goes down at 150. And I'm going to keep building single marines and workers. So it's important here that you just keep building things. I know right now there's not a lot going on, and that's on purpose. That's so that we can just emphasize our fundamentals. As soon as you get enough money here, feel free to pop both these barracks at the same time. Here, you're going to see me do it around 210, 210, 215. You're going to build 2 more barracks right here. And if you guys watched my previous video on how to organize your buildings, this will all make sense to you, how I have displaced. And you just keep building workers and marines. Workers and marines. Workers and marines. At 230, you're going to go ahead and take both of these gases together in your main. And you're going to follow that up with an orbital command at 235. So about 5 seconds later, you're going to start that orbital command. Still building single marines. Still building SCV here. And like I said, you're really just emphasizing macro. It's as basic as it gets, but it's good. I promise. And just keep producing workers. Once these barracks finish, you're going to go ahead and do 2 tech labs and 1 reactor. 2 tech labs and 1 reactor. We're going to go for basically 2 reactors and 3 tech labs. You could go multiple more reactors. I will put a note here that for TVZ, you can build all reactors if you'd like. But in TVP, you do want to add some marauders for sure. So, trickle in on these 2 tech labs, 3 tech labs. But definitely at least 2 reactors. Honestly, that might even be too much information, but I'll put that there. So what you see me do is build 2 reactors. 2 tech labs, a reactor. The reason why I built 2 tech labs here is because I'm going to start stim and combat together. So as soon as these barracks finish and as soon as you have the gas, that's when you can add those add-ons. In the meantime, you're going to keep macroing, and you're going to keep building supply depots. So my advice is to have 1 or 2 workers just continuously building supply depots as you macro. You'll see that I have a habit of shifting my units, shifting my workers to mine. You can just keep shifting them to build SCVs. And as you get more gas, you're going to start your upgrades. So you're going to go stim first, followed by combat shields, and you're going to keep building marines here. Marines and stim. There you go. So I have started my stim first, my combat shields, more marines, more SCVs, consistent SCV production, as well as depots. At 4 minutes, you're going to add 2 more barracks here for a total of 5 barracks. Okay. We're going to do 5 barracks on a 2-base economy, and you're going to keep building. So you can see how having so many barracks early on and just continuously producing makes it so that you have a larger army. At 420, you're going to go ahead and start that factory. Basically, as soon as it gets the gas for it and the minerals for it, you can start that factory. And honestly, guys, the timings are just a benchmark. The game time is just a benchmark. As long as you're adding these things in the correct order, it's okay. And even if, for example, you fall behind and need to add multiple things at the same time, go ahead and do that. If you're a little bit late on your 4th and 5th barracks, but you also have enough gas or enough money for the factory, go ahead and just build them all together. Don't feel like you have to go 4th and 5th barracks first, and then follow it with a factory, and then, kind of proceed with the order when you have the money to just do it all at the same time. The biggest takeaway with this is basically just spend your money as much as you can, and if you end up pooling a lot of money, don't stress about it. Just spend it, all of it together if you have to. And, so continue onwards here. Once this base is about fully saturated, so 16 out of 16, you can see it right there. You're going to go ahead and add both the gases in your natural. The 16 out of 16 basically just means that each mineral patch can have 2 workers on it, which is efficient mining. So you can see at 445, I added these 2 gases. Still building supply depots. And here you can see that I've added my reactor, another tech lab. So I have I have 2 reactors, 3 tech labs. And I'm just macroing it up. I'm going to immediately go for a starport here, followed by a reactor. So about 5 minutes, you're going to go ahead and do that. And you're just going to build. Build. More depots, dropping my mules, and building SCVs. So, and you can see how right now I don't have a third base, but I'm emphasizing production heavily right now. And therefore, I'm going to have a much larger army early on. If you do this right, you should be able, or as close to right as possible, you should be able to just absolutely bulldoze your opponents. As soon as I have a tech lab, I'm going to start a concussive shell. Sorry, as soon as my stim and combat finish, go ahead and mix that concussive shells in there. And at around at about 6 minutes, you're going to go ahead and start that third command center. I haven't started it yet because I'm going to build 2 medevacs first. So I'm going to go 550, 545, 2 medevacs. And then 555, 6 minutes or so, you're going to start that third command center. I'm still going to be building SCVs. I'm still going to be building army. You can see here how I spent a lot of my money early on, or very quickly. So I'm actually a little bit low there. I start 2 medevacs. And as soon as you have 2 medevacs finished, you're going to go across the map. And again, while you're pushing across the map, your goal is to basically just building SCVs, building army. SCVs, army. I'm going to go ahead at 620, add 2 engineering bays for upgrades. The upgrades, are important, so you mix those in there, but we're going to emphasize production first early on. At this point here, as the game continues, your goal is to do 2 things. Number 1, you want to hit about 75 to 80 SCVs in every matchup. That's the goal. If you hover your cursor over to the corner of the screen here on the supply count, you can actually check to see what your workers are at, if you're at how much army supply you have and how much worker supply you have. Your goal is to get 80 to 75 SCVs as quickly as you can. I want to say you should probably be able to get it by around 9:30, 10 minutes if you do it perfectly. So add a little bit of buffer here and there. We're pushing maybe 10:30, 11 minutes. And for your for your production, as you increase your money supply, you want to keep adding production. So what you're going to do is you're just going to fill this base with more structures. So you feel free to add more barracks, more starports, more factories. Just to streamline it for you guys, to give you guys an idea of what you're looking to add or to do, we can go ahead on 3 bases, have a total of 9 barracks. So at the moment we have 5. Feel free to add 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 barracks. You don't need any extra factories or starports and TVZ or TVP. We're going to emphasize entirely Marine Marauder production. Once you get a 4th base here, once you get a 4th base mining, then you can add extra starports, extra factories as you need them. As long as you just have, your end goal is to basically have at least 12 barracks on 4 bases. So if you're mining on 4 bases with 75 to 80 SCVs, you want to have about 12 barracks, 2 starports, and 2 factories, at least all those, if you're building factory units. As you can see here, I didn't add factory units, and that's just because, like I mentioned earlier, I want to make this as simple as possible. And I feel that by mixing in factory units, the micro becomes a little bit more complicated and things can get jumbled. As you get better, if you're a platinum player or maybe even a diamond player, if you're looking to then complicate things a little bit more for practice, then you can feel free to mix in widow mines, tanks, whatever it is from that factory to also aid in that production. But if you're wondering why I didn't build anything from the factory, that's exactly why I didn't, to just not complicate things too hard or too much. For your core composition, like I said, it's going to be Marine Marauder Medevac. It's all you're going to emphasize. If you need more anti-air, add more Marines. If you need more, tanky units, add more Marauders into that mix. And obviously you can still build Vikings as you need them, Liberators as you need them. At that point, just kind of take it with personal opinion or whatever you think needs to happen each game, to each of their own. I guess this would have been a better way of saying it. And yeah, so that's really it. This is, like I said, this is a very simple opener. This is for the target audience here is platinum below, basically new players. there's a lot of videos out there for settings stuff, how to set up camera locations, what are the most optimal settings, all that good jazz. I won't be doing a video on that because I just feel like there's already a lot of really good content on that. I can point you guys to Pig, Winter. Those people have Vibe, I believe, as well. Those people have really, really good basic videos on setting up, the most optimal settings. I highly recommend checking those out. But this video is going to focus, or this video has focused entirely on the build here as well as production. And yeah, I guess that's it. If you guys have any comments or sorry, any questions or I guess comments as well, obviously put them in the description below or in the comment section below, and I'll answer them. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing, but I feel like that hits the spot. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a sub. Got a little bit awkward at the end there. Still getting used to articulating like this. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video.